Hi everyone, I'm Ariel. Thank you for watching. I am going to be presenting a debate response today to Isela Gonzalez, where I will be arguing against the claim that the World Health Organization has been an effective tool in curbing the spread of coronavirus. So some of the arguments Isela presents is that the WHO provides accurate and reliable guidelines for countries to follow, as well as guidelines for people to follow in their everyday activities, such as wearing a mask, when to wash your hands, etc. And I'm going to argue that the WHO failed to do this because it's essentially not designed to be an independent organization, as it should be. It depends on the donations of countries to stay funded, and it also depends on the transparency of countries to share valuable information that could help stop the spread of a pandemic. And a couple problems with this are because the WHO depends on donations from countries around the world, it may favor one country over another, say more powerful countries than less developed nations, for fear of losing that funding. And the WHO also depends on countries to share information so that it itself can in turn share information with the world. But because states tend to act in their own self-interest and there's issues with competition, countries can either not share information, downplay the severity of the virus, release information once too late, or provide false information. So those are a couple issues that we run into where the World Health Organization doesn't have reliable information, because when states act in their own self-interest, they might not give accurate information, give information at all, or give false information. So one example of this is the WHO tweeted in the early stages of the virus that preliminary investigations conducted by the Chinese authorities have found no clear evidence of human-to-human transmission of the coronavirus identified in Wuhan, China. But as we know, these claims were false, and Taiwanese health authorities who sent their own medical teams to Wuhan in December actually tried to tell WHO the truth. But because China has more influence over the WHO, because they give more money to the WHO, and Taiwan isn't allowed to be a member of the WHO due to China's objections, they ignored this information and initially downplayed the severity of the virus and actually spread misinformation. So some of the arguments that the WHO was ineffective in curbing the spread of coronavirus is that it should not have waited until China confirmed human-to-human transmission to do so itself, and it should not have waited as long to issue a public health emergency or declare coronavirus a pandemic. But thankfully, there are places that around the world that chose to adhere to science and accurately address the virus. So they didn't listen to WHO when they said, masks are not needed unless you're sick or caring for someone who's sick. And they didn't listen to the WHO when they held the position that travel bans were ineffective, which is most likely because countries wanted to keep money flowing in from tourism. So essentially, it's not that WHO itself and the independent organization that it's supposed to be is ineffective. It's just the way that it operates now is why it's ineffective, is because states aren't in cooperation with each other and they're really only looking out for their own self-interest, even in times of crisis. And these actions could cause harm to other states, and this is why we've seen an enormous spread of coronavirus around the world. So the WHO is not an effective tool in curbing the spread of a pandemic because it doesn't have the power to compel states to cooperate with each other, and it doesn't have the power to access information necessary to provide accurate insights to the world. It's totally reliant on the states to give them information, and the WHO has to work with this information that each country is essentially willing to share with it. And the information that each country is willing to share totally depends on their own self-interest. So thank you for watching, and if you have any questions or comments, I'd love to hear them. Thank you.